it's Nina. Today we're going to do a core-centered Hatha class. So Hatha classes are a little bit different than a typical vinyasa where we're just moving through each posture with one breath. So Hatha classes are generally longer holds, and you're really focused on your breath during the class. So in this Hatha class, you're going to be holding all of the postures for anywhere between 5 to 10 breaths. So the point of holding the postures that long is not to just torture you, but it's also so that you can use your breath as a tool to heat up the body and then also to move energy throughout the body. Because a lot of times we get into our yoga classes and we have this stagnant energy, and we think by constantly moving our body, like in vinyasa, that'll get the energy moving and open up the body. And while it does do that, there are benefits to holding the postures, because we find and we sit with those areas that we feel stuck or uncomfortable with, and we're able to breathe through that and be able to release that stress, release those energetic blockages within our body. And we also learn how to actually sit in the actual posture and actually feel that posture in our bodies. So we're not just constantly rushing through the class. We can actually sit with that pose, and we understand the correct mechanics and the anatomy and the alignment of the posture. So it's one of my favorite classes to teach, these Hatha classes, and today is all about core. So we're going to be doing lots of plank holds and balancing postures during this class. So I hope that you came prepared to hold some poses and to sit in these uncomfortable postures. And I don't mean that to scare you or anything, because you feel just absolutely amazing after these classes. And it just really, really helps to get some energy moving. So with class today, you're going to need a block. And that's pretty much all that you're going to need. I'll provide modifications for some of the postures that might be a little bit too difficult or are more difficult when holding for longer periods of time. So just do the best that you can. You can come out of a pose if it's a little too intense for you, but I do urge you to really do your best. Even though you don't feel like you might be doing the pose completely correctly or it's not perfect, don't worry too much about that. Just try to focus on one thing. I'll give cues throughout class so you can focus on 1 or 2 cues while you're in each posture, and just work on adjusting your body based on those cues. So do the best that you can, and remember to just sit with those uncomfortable feelings in class or the sensations within the body, whether it's your muscles burning or you feel really contracted. Just see where you can find space and use your breath to find that space and to move that energy. So when a pose gets difficult, just remember to breathe deeper and breathe longer on the inhales and longer on the exhales. This will help to slow the heart rate down and put you in a little bit more of a relaxed state so that you're not so contracted or tense in the postures. All right, so let's get started. We're going to come into a plank pose to begin with. We'll just start right off with some core work. So come into your plank pose. Your feet can be together or apart. Shoulders are in line with your wrists. If this is too much, you can always come down to your knees, but do your best to stay here. Just slightly tuck the tailbone under and roll that belly button up towards the spine. It's just a very subtle movement here to make sure you're activating the lower core. And again, just remember to breathe. And just gently squeeze your glutes. This helps to activate the entire body here. So we're not just working the core, we're learning to use all of our muscles at the same time. And just continue to breathe here. And then lower down onto your knees into a tabletop position. From here, just come into dancing lion. So this is kind of a free-for-all movement here. So just move your hips around forward and back. And just find those areas that might feel a little tight for you this morning or evening whenever you're doing this class. You can move your fingers to face you to do some stretches for the wrists. So just taking any variation that might help your body get a little bit more warmed up. Might be feeling a little stiff. So just shrugging the shoulders, rolling them around a few times to open up the shoulder joints. Maybe rolling the head around. And then come back to a neutral spine. On an inhale, lift the chin up. And on an exhale, round through the upper back. Just 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, reverse. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, reverse. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes under, hover your knees up off the mat. Just about an inch or so off the mat. Really push away from the ground. Keep the neck and the head and the spine all level in one straight line here. So do your best to stay pretty active and remember to breathe here. Just 2 more breaths. Just a slight tuck of the tailbone here. Really activate that lower core. And then keeping your knees up off the mat, all you're going to do is push your hips back and come into kind of this awkward downward facing dog. Just continue to breathe here. Bring your stomach as close to the tops of your thighs as you can. And then from here, lift the hips up and begin to roll the spine forward, coming into plank pose. You can move your feet if that's helpful for you. So just coming into this plank posture, and then come down onto your forearms. Coming into forearm plank, remembering to find that slight tuck of the tailbone here to really activate the core. So you can bring your hands together, you can have them apart, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Continuing to breathe. And then start to roll onto the outer edge of your left foot and onto that left forearm. Lift your right arm up towards the sky. Really push your hips up. Push your forearm and your elbow into the ground. And then start to lift the right leg up towards the sky. Really using that core strength to keep yourself lifted. And finding your breath here. Lower the right foot down. And bring your forearm back to the ground. Bring your right knee to your right elbow. And then extend back into forearm plank. And then roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. Lift your left arm up towards the sky. Doing your best here to really push your hips up, push into the ground. Find as much length up towards the sky as you can. And then lift that top leg up to the sky. Continue to breathe. You might be feeling this in your glutes, in your side body, in your shoulders. And lower that foot down. Come back into your forearm plank. Pick your left knee up to meet your left elbow. And then back to forearm plank. Push yourself all the way up to plank. And then lower all the way down to your belly. Bring your arms by your sides. Squeeze your feet together. And inhale up, locust pose. Just really roll the shoulders back. Bring the shoulder blades close together. Find your breath here. Lift up a little bit higher. And slowly lower down. Bring your hands to the top of the mat and place on top of each other, and just place your forehead on your hands. Take a few breaths here. And then lift your head. Bring your hands to the outside of your mat. Come up onto your fingertips and inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Bring your hands next to your chest. And inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. And then from the back of your mat, walk your feet all the way up to the top. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. Bring your feet about hip distance apart. Bring your arms by your sides, palms facing forward. Just roll the shoulder blades down the back and open up through the front of the chest. Just close your eyes here. Slightly tuck the tailbone under. Squeeze the quads. Just come here for a very solid mountain posture. Come back to your breath. Open your eyes. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Take a little back bend here. And exhale, fold forward. And just hang out here for a moment. You can bend your knees. Maybe move your hips from side to side. Just find any forward fold variation. That'll help to start to open up those hips and the hamstrings. And then take your arms behind your lower back, lift up and fold over. You can keep your knees bent. If you're starting to feel like your legs are opening up a little bit, you can start to straighten your legs and just relax your head and your neck here. Slowly release your hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step back into your plank. Bringing your feet together, squeeze your quads, squeeze your glutes, slightly tuck the tailbone under. Taking long, slow, deep breaths here. And then bring your right knee to your right elbow, holding it here. And extend the right foot back. Bring the left knee to the left elbow, taking 5 slow, deep breaths here. You might be starting to shake, so just really lean into those breaths here. Really help to move that energy. Help you in this posture. And release back into plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few moments here in down dog, bending your knees, pushing your hips up and back. Finding the stillness here, finding your breath. It's just so important to focus on the breath here. You want to find that stillness in the pose. So when we're holding these poses and things start to burn and things start to get difficult and our mind starts to get crazy and we're like, when are we going to get out of this pose, or it's too difficult, and all these things run through your mind, you have tools to help you. You deepen your breath. This helps to move that energy, that stagnant energy that is making you feel uncomfortable. So breathing deeply. And then just become the observer of those thoughts that are saying, I can't do this, or it's too difficult. And just know that that's not who you are. Who you are is that stillness. That's not the thoughts, that's not the feelings that are arising, and you can just observe and you can release. So use this class as a time to lean into the breath, to move that energy and to release any of that energy or those thoughts or those feelings that may have taken control of your life. We may not even be aware of. And look to the top of your mat. Walk your feet all the way up to the top. And inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands by your sides. Come into mountain pose. Take your feet a little bit apart from each other. Palms facing forward, looking straight ahead. Just close your eyes, slightly tuck the tailbone under, squeeze the quads so the kneecaps lift up. Just find this really strong pose and come to that deep breath. Bring your feet together. Lift your arms up to the sky. On your exhale, sink your hips down into chair pose. So continuing to breathe here. Just push the hips back, so you want to be able to see your toes over your knees. And try to get the hips a little bit lower here. Remembering to keep those arms by your ears. Keeping them as straight as you can. Really reaching up towards the sky. Continue to breathe. Start to shift the weight into your right foot. Pick your left foot up and extend back. Place your left hand down on the inside of your right foot. Twist open to your right into revolved low lunge. So instead of just dumping into this left shoulder here, you really want to push away from the ground. You can always use a block here underneath your hand if you need a little bit of a boost. And if you feel like your shoulder's hiking up towards your ears, just roll that shoulder blade down your back. Create that external rotation in that upper arm bone here. Create a little bit more stability in the shoulder girdle. Really reaching up towards the sky. Squeezing your left quad, squeezing your left glute. Again, just taking one or two of these cues, whichever ones resonate with you, and do the best that you can while you're in this pose. Finding those deep breaths. And slowly begin to lift those left fingertips off the ground, only moving the upper body here, extending your right arm back, lifting your left arm forward, coming into revolve crescent. Keeping that left knee or right knee in line with your left ankle or right ankle. Really reaching and extending that right arm back and that left arm forward. Really using your core here to stay centered and balanced. Finding your breath. Take your right hand to the back of your left leg. Reach the left arm up and back into your revolved reverse crescent lunge. So the only thing you're moving is the upper body here. Squeeze that left glute. This will help provide a deeper stretch in that left psoas. Reaching the arm up and back. Keeping your right knee in line with your right ankle. Reach the right arm up towards the sky, come into crescent lunge. Just 5 or 6 deep breaths here, and we'll come to rest in mountain pose. Your legs might be shaking a little bit here, so come back to that breath. Breathe a little bit deeper. Find that stillness within you and just observe the body, observe the mind. Slowly release the arms, step up to the top of your mat, and come into mountain pose. Feet about hip distance apart, palms facing forward. Just close your eyes. Come back to your breath. And start to shift the weight into your right foot. Hug your left knee into your chest. You can hang out here if this is a challenge enough for you to balance. Keeping your right hand on your right hip. You can take the peace fingers of your left hand and grab your big left toe. You can stay here, or if you'd like to extend the leg out as much as you can, if you start to fold forward and hunch, just pull back. So think about pulling that left shoulder back so that you're still standing up pretty straight. If you can extend your leg out, that's great. If not, no worries. Again, we're just working on the core here. So no matter where you're at or what you can do or what you look like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you're working on your balance. You're engaging your core here to stay nice and balanced. So we're all doing the work no matter what we look like. And finding your breath. Start to hug that left knee into your chest. Start to deeply bend your right knee and extend your left leg back behind you. Extend your arms over your head and come into bent leg warrior 3. Flexing your toes towards the mat. If you feel like your left hip is opening up towards the sky, pull that left hip down towards the ground. Square those hips off. Really lengthen the arms over your head. Take a deeper bend in your knee if that creates a little bit more of an ease in this posture. Come back to your breath. One more breath here. Exhale, lower the right hand down, open up into your half moon. So you can use a block here. You need a little boost in this pose. So take your variation. Turning your left toes up towards the sky to really open up those hips, reaching that left arm up, gaze up towards the sky. If you fall out, slowly make your way back in. Come back to your breath. Start to bend your right knee, lower that left foot down, coming into warrior 2. Taking a moment here to find your alignment, right knee in line with your right ankle, left back of your back foot. You're gonna roll a little bit more onto the outer edge or push back to create some more of that stability in that back leg. So you wanna find that even distribution of weight between the front and the back leg. Look over that front finger, extended forward. Last posture before mountain pose, so stick with me here. Find your breath. Things might start to be shaking. I know I want to get out of this posture. So just pay attention to those thoughts. Know that you're stronger. You don't have to listen to them. Use your breath to clear those thoughts away, to clear that energy away. And slowly take that left leg up to the top of your mat. Come into mountain pose, palms facing forward, eyes closed. Come back to your breath here. Open your eyes, shake your legs out a little bit. We did a lot of balancing on that side. All right, so we're gonna do this other side before we start to slow down and get into some stretching. So come back into chair pose. So bring your feet together, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. Sink your hips down and back so you can see your toes and shift a little bit of the weight into your heels here. Really extend the arms up towards the sky. Sink the hips a little lower here. And just slightly tuck the tailbone under. This helps to engage that lower core. Keep breathing here. If you feel like your arms start to bend or you get a little lax in the body, just pay attention and see what's going on in the body. Try to stay here a little bit longer, just 2 more breaths. Shift the weight into your left foot. Extend your right foot back. Place the right hand on the inside of that left foot. Twist open to your left. And taking a block underneath your hand if needed. Left knee is in line with your left ankle. If you feel like your leg starts to bow out a little bit, just bring it back in. Continue to breathe here. Pushing away from the ground, almost like someone is pulling your top hand up and you're finding as much lightness as possible in this posture. Slowly come up onto your right fingertips. So you're going to keep your lower body exactly where it's at. You're just going to move the upper body. So extend that left arm back and the right arm forward, coming into your revolve crescent lunge. Just pull that right hip forward, squeeze that right glute. Continue to breathe here. This is one of my least favorite postures. It's difficult for me, so just keep telling myself, breathe. It's burning, I'm shaking. But just see where you can find softness in the body here. You don't have to be so tense. Relax the shoulders a little bit. Just 1 more breath. Take the left hand to the back of your right thigh. Lift your right arm up and back, keeping the lower body exactly where it's at. Reach up and back into revolve, reverse crescent lunge. Squeeze that right glute and reach the arm up and back. Feel that stretch in that right hip flexor. Just 1 more breath here. Reach the left arm up into crescent lunge. Stick with me here. Maybe your knee, like mine, has started to push back, but bring it back in alignment with that left ankle. This is where we find those moments where we want to get out of this pose, but we just breathe. Remember that breath is life. It's what moves the energy through the body. These are the hard parts. This is where we push through. We do some of that internal work, and we use our breath as a guide and as a tool. 1 more breath. Exhale, step up into mountain pose. Ooh, my legs are shaking a little bit here. All right, just palms facing forward. Close your eyes. Come back to your breath. Bring your feet together. Shift the weight into your left foot. Pick your right knee up into your chest. If this is as far as you can go, that's great. Keep the chest lifted, pull that right shoulder back. Left hand on your hip. If you'd like to go a little bit further, peace fingers of your right hand grab your right big toe. You can hang out here, maybe start to straighten out your leg. If you hunch over, just bring it back. So find your variation. We'll be here for 5 deep breaths. Start to bend your right knee. Release your foot if you're holding on to it. Start to take a deep bend in your left knee. Extend your right leg back. Extend your arms over your head into bent leg, warrior three. So really find that length. Reach the arms forward and push that right heel back, making sure your toes are facing the ground. Your right hip is facing the ground. Continue to breathe here, just 3 more breaths. Start to bring that left hand down. Straighten that left leg, open up into your half moon. Reach that right arm up towards the sky. If you need a block under your left hand, you can grab a block. This helps you to find a little bit more length in the body. Wherever you are at in your practice, if you fall out, just slowly make your way in. No need to beat yourself up. This is a core class, so we're working on training our core muscles to find that center of balance no matter what pose we are in. So do your best here. Start to bend your left knee. Lower your right foot down into warrior two. Last posture before we come into that mountain pose. So bring that left knee in line with your left ankle. Shift more of that weight into that back, outer edge of your back foot. Sink your hips a little bit lower. Maybe move your feet a little bit farther apart depending on how long your legs are. Everyone's going to be different. Don't worry about looking perfect. What you want to think about is finding that correct alignment in your body. It's going to be different for every person. So just see how it feels in your body. Sink a little bit lower here. Find your breath. Breathe with me here. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Step forward to the top of your mat into your mountain pose. Palms facing forward. Roll the shoulder blades down the back. Close your eyes. Take long, slow, deep breaths here. And then shake the arms out, shake the legs out. I'm going to do one final core exercise here. Boat pose. It's a classic. Everyone's favorite, I know. But then we'll get into some nice stretching, so don't you worry. All right, come onto your butt. Bring your knees together. Lift your feet up off the ground so the shins are parallel. If you have a little bit more flexibility in your hamstrings and strength in your hip flexors, you can straighten out your legs. So take your variation, bring your arms extended out next to your legs. And then from here, start to lower down and come up. Lower down and up for 2. We're going to do 10. Lower down, up for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holding it here. Start to extend your legs if you haven't already. Lift the chest up. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, hug your knees into your chest. And then come onto your hands in your knees. Extend your feet back into plank pose. We're almost there, I promise, guys. Lift your right leg up and start to slowly lift that right knee as close to your armpit as you can, and gently place that right foot on the outside of your right hand. Lower your left knee down. And inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Squeeze your left glute and reach the arms up and back. Release the hands down. Start to twist open to your right, bend your left knee, reach the right arm around to grab that left foot. Squeezing your left glute. And you can roll onto the outer edge of your right foot if that feels good. Slowly release that back foot down, bring your hand back to the ground, tuck your back toes under, come into this lizard lunge. So I'm going to challenge you to lift the right foot up off the ground and slowly bring it back into your plank. So you're going to push into the ground, lift the hips up, lift the foot up, and slowly bring it back. Lift the left leg up, bring that left knee as close to the armpit as you can, gently lower down to the outside of your left hand. Drop your right knee down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Squeeze your right glute and lift the arms up and back. Really getting a deep stretch in that psoas and that hip flexor. Release the right hand down to the inside of your left foot. Twist to your left. Bend your right knee, reach the left arm back to grab that right foot. Can hang out here, maybe roll onto the outer edge of your left foot. And try to pull the heel in closer, squeezing that right glute. Release the right foot down. Bring the hand back to the mat. Tuck your back toes under, come into a lizard lunge. Same thing on this side. Challenge yourself to lift that left foot up and bring it back. Lower down to your knees and just come up onto your shins. So we'll do some back bending here just to open up the front body. We'll just do 2 camels. So bring your knees about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit farther apart. You can tuck your toes under if that's more comfortable, or place a blanket or something soft under your knees if needed. So the point of this posture is not to just push the hips forward and jam the lower back. You actually want to find the back bend in the upper back here. So you're not trying to bend the lower back, it's just something that goes with the upper back. So you're creating this nice arch mostly in the upper back. So try not to push yourself in this posture. You want to feel the opening in the chest and the shoulders and a little bit in the front body. If you feel it in your back at all, just back off and just work on lifting the chest up and back. So bring your hands to your lower back, fingertips facing up towards the sky. Lift the chest up and back. Slowly begin to push the hips forward while lifting the chest up and back. And just be here for 2 breaths, finding your happy medium. It's a very gentle, subtle stretch here. And slowly release, sit back onto your heels. We'll go into that one more time. Come up onto your knees. You can bring your hands to your lower back, or if you have the openness in the upper back and the chest, you can start to lower the hands to the heels, maybe untucking the toes if you want something deeper. So again, just lifting the chest up and back, slightly squeezing the glutes, finding your variation for 3 breaths. Slowly make your way back up. Sit back on your heels. We're just going to come into a side stretch. So bring your left heel in close to the body, extend your right leg out to the side, and then start to extend your right arm to your right foot and reach the left arm up and over. The goal here isn't to grab the foot. If you have that flexibility, that's great, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're feeling this entire stretch along the left side of your body. So really reach the arm up and over. So the goal here is to really feel that stretch. So try not to bring the chest down. Just open up and turn those left ribs up towards the sky. And slowly come out, just switch sides. Extend the left leg out, bring that right heel in. Reach the left hand to the left foot or the shin, and then reach the right arm up and over. If you start to feel like your right hip is lifting off the ground, just plant it back on the ground. You want to stay rooted in this hip. So you want to feel that stretch between this hip bone and the ribs all along the side of the body. Turning the right ribs up towards the sky, reaching up and over. Slowly come back up to center. Come onto your backs. Final two stretches. We're going to go into bridge or wheel pose, taking whichever variation feels good to you. We'll start off with bridge pose if this is all that you're going to do. If you want to go straight into wheel and you feel like you're warmed up, you can go ahead and do that. But going into bridge pose, you're just going to lift your hips up and clasp your hands under your back. Shimmy the shoulder blades close together and really push up. And slowly lower the hips down. So you can go into bridge pose again, or if you'd like to go into full wheel, you can take your hands by your head, push the hips up and lift up, pushing the chest up and back, keeping your knees straight ahead. Continue to breathe here. And slowly lower down. Hang out here for a moment. Place your hands on your belly. And slowly hug your knees into your chest. Release your feet down to the ground and release your knees away from each other. For final Shavasana, you can hang out here or you can straighten your legs. So taking whichever variation that you, I don't know how I got scooted so far down on my mat. You can take whichever variation, straighten the legs, or if this bothers your lower back, you can tuck the tailbone under, bring the knees together, and hang out here. So take your variation for Shavasana. Your arms can be wherever feels comfortable for you, maybe over your head. That feels good to keep the chest and the shoulders open. And we'll be here for a minute or two, closing your eyes, finding as much relaxation in the body as you can. Slowly start to come back into your body, just being aware of the sensations. Maybe you're feeling more relaxed. Maybe you feel just a very subtle energy running through the entire body. No judgment, just an awareness. And begin to move different parts of your body, maybe extending the legs if they were bent, stretching the arms over the head, moving the ankles and the wrists, and the fingers and the toes. And eventually make your way onto one side of your body and just curl up there for a moment. And eventually push yourself all the way up to a seated position. Place your hands on your knees and just close your eyes. Sit up a little bit straighter. We'll take 2 deep breaths together just to close class. So completely empty out your lower belly on an exhale. And inhale, fill that lower belly. And exhale out. One more, inhale in. And exhale out. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this breath-centered Hatha yoga class for the core. It's really, really important to really learn how to utilize your breath to move that energy, to be able to break things up within the body and the mind. So often we get so caught up with our jobs and in our lives that we forget that we're not our thoughts, and we are not this build-up or pent-up energy or stress in the body. These are just layers of stress and tension that have built up that just need to be released. And moving the body and using your breath are both really amazing ways in order to release that and to not be so attached to all of that. So I hope that you guys enjoy this class and you were able to use the breath to release something that maybe you have been holding on to, or to work through something that you've been struggling with. So thank you guys so much for joining, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I will see you guys on the mat next time. Bye.